Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for watching. This show's all about giving you insights and showcasing brands that help you to live your best life and give you confidence. As always, I want to kickstart your morning with some motivational advice to help you to feel inspired and energized to start your day. Today, I want to talk about the importance of mastering your mind. Mastering your mind is one of the most important tools you will ever learn. Our minds are one of the most important tools we possess, and it can either help you to attain success and optimum health and happiness, or it can lead you to the depths of failure and despair. The great news is we have 100% control of our mind, and we have the ability to train it to work in our favor and program it for success. When we don't take control of our minds, we let it roam on autopilot, letting external factors or situations determine our happiness. Understanding that we can use our minds to serve us and steer us in a positive direction is essential for taking the reins back and becoming the master of your mind and your thoughts. So how do we go about doing this? Have you ever noticed that two people can be in the same situation, yet one person is optimistic and the other person is worried and stressed? The key is perspective and training your mind to see the positive in every situation. Training our mind to see the glass half full rather than half empty can turn any situation into a positive learning experience, which is essential for developing a winning mindset. Being conscious of filling our minds with positivity daily, with self-affirmations, positive self-talk, and avoiding negativity are all steps to training our minds to work in our favor. As Buddha quotes, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." Stay tuned. Coming up after the break. And unlike other Bollywood actors, you've been in a number of international films. So what was your favorite international movie to act in and why?
I had great experience working in Bend It Like Beckham. It was my first English language film. And I had a wonderful time because I was working with brilliant actors like Robert De Niro and Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence when I did Silver Linings Playbook. From an idol point of view, Robert De Niro, to be able to share the screen space with somebody like him, on whom I had done a paper during my drama school days. I did a paper on him, on his Taxi Driver and Mean Streets. And then finally life takes you to a situation where you are actually working with him is the most memorable experience that I've had till date.
Next on the show, we have one of Bollywood's most notable actors, Anupam Kher. Anupam has acted in over 500 films and has recently launched his new book, Your Best Day Is Today, and his podcast, Anupam Kher, available on iHeartRadio podcasts. Anupam, thank you so much for being on the show today. How are you doing?
I am fine. It's 10 o'clock in the night in Mumbai, and I think for you it must be 11:30.
It is. It's 11:30 a.m. It's bright and early here. Well, not early, but it's the afternoon. It's really a pleasure having you on the show today. My list of Bollywood stars is growing. So far, I've had Priyanka Chopra, Abhishek Bachchan, my uncle Denzel Smith, who's also a Bollywood actor, and now you. So it's quite an honor to have you.
Oh, wonderful. I'm very happy to be on this show. Thank you.
So you're one of Bollywood's most notable actors. You've starred in more than 500 films. So let's bring it back to the beginning. When did you develop your love for acting, and what was your first major big break?
So I come from a small town which is up north in Shimla. It's called Shimla. It's under the foothills of Himalaya. And I come from a small family in terms of poor family. And the only thing when you are very poor is that you dream a lot. You dream about wanting to be famous, wanted to be successful. And but I was not good at studies. I was not good at sports. And the only thing I was good at was I was good at mimicking people. I used to mimic my teachers, my principal, my parents, my grandparents. And it was fun doing that. And that's where I think the first seed of acting must have got planted. But then I went to a proper training in the Department of Indian Theatre in Chandigarh. Then I went to drama school in Mumbai and finally landed up in Mumbai on the 3rd of June 1981. So I almost going to complete almost 40 years in Mumbai. My first break came in my first film called Saransh, which in English means the essence. Saransh was a big break for me. I was 28 and I was playing a 65-year-old man's role. Yeah, but it was a great film. It launched me as an actor in the best possible manner. And if I have survived these 40 years in the cinema field, it's because my first role was that.
And unlike other Bollywood actors, you've been in a number of international films, Golden Globe nominated films like Bend It Like Beckham, Silver Linings Playbook, just to name a few. So what was your favorite international movie to act in and why?
I think it's too early to answer that question. Maybe I'll answer that question after 20 years when I think that I'm maybe going to hang my boots because of memory loss or something like that, not otherwise. But I had great experience working in Bend It Like Beckham. It was my first English language film. And I had a wonderful time because I was working with brilliant actors like Robert De Niro and Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence when I did Silver Linings Playbook. I enjoyed equally doing Hotel Mumbai or The Big Sick. But yes, from an idol point of view, my Robert De Niro, to be able to share the screen space with somebody like him, on whom I had done a paper during my drama school days. I did a paper on him, on his Taxi Driver and Mean Streets. And then finally life takes you to a situation where you are actually working with him is the most memorable experience that I've had till date. But I have a feeling that I will be having great experiences in the future also.
Oh yeah, you definitely will. I want to talk about your book. I have it right here. Your best day is today, and I really love this title of the book. So talk to us about the symbolism.
Even I have
for
it.
You.
I also have
we're
it.
both matching.
Yeah, we're both matching. We both have the same book.
Let's talk about the title because it really sticks out to me. It's very inspirational. So let's talk about the symbolism for you for this title of the book.
So I wrote this book during pandemic, during lockdown, and it's about my own account of what I went through or what I did during this pandemic time, and how I wanted to look at the silver linings during these dark clouds. I'm an eternal optimist, and for me to be able to find what do I sort of see which makes me positive, which makes me compassionate, which makes me optimistic in this time. So when I finished writing this book, by September, I started writing it in April. Me and my publisher, which is Hay House Publishers, we were brainstorming what should we call this book, because my first book was called The Best Thing About You Is You. My second book was Lessons Life Taught Me Unknowingly, and this was my third book, and I was not planning to write it. And then I remembered that when we were kids, when I was in 5th grade and my brother was in 4th grade, my mother used to take us on foot to drop us at the gate of the school, and at that school gate she used to say it in Kashmiri, in my Kashmiri language, Chon Azuk Dechu Saaniko John, which translated into, she will tell me and my brother, your best day is today. So we used to feel, oh my God, now mother has wished us our best day now, whether we are good at studies or not, whether we are good at sports or not, but it is going to be our best day. So I thought also the pandemic, the lockdown taught us that we keep planning things in future, that we will do this after 1 month, we will do this day after tomorrow, or this is what but lockdown made us realize that this moment that you are having, that like you and I are having a chat, is the most important moment. And that's a lesson which I want to share with my readers, with other people, that we should not be running fast nowhere. We should not be sort of trying to plan things. I know planning sometimes helps us, but one small virus has made us feel the importance of present, the importance of now.
Yeah.
And that's why this title has come up there.
I love it. And of course, the lockdown has been difficult for everybody, but especially in India, it's been a lot more severe, and people have been home for months and months. I know my grandmother was home for almost a year. So, what kind of challenges did you face personally during this lockdown, and how did you get through those moments?
But I personally feel that India has dealt with lockdown and pandemic much better than so many other countries, because our immune system is already good. I can understand my mother and your grandmother not able to go out because of the old age, because you can get infected faster, your immune system is low. But the fact that I had never taken an off in these so many years as an actor, for me to be not doing anything for so many months was a strange thing, to be sitting at home. But that's what also brought me my book. That's what made me feel creative about it. And I also took a pause in life. We are back in full form now. We are as if lockdown had not taken place. We have to be careful. I think we need to be smart about it. But we did observe the rules of lockdown, the social distancing, the putting of the mask a little more seriously than most of the other countries have done. And with the vaccine coming out now, 2 vaccines coming out of India, we are in a better situation, hopefully. But still, I think people like my mother has to be careful whether she is able to go out or not. So that's there. But overall, I think we live in situations where we don't necessarily take care of whether we are having a mineral water or not. So our immune system is much better. I would like to say that.
I completely agree. What is one thing that you've learned about yourself during this lockdown and COVID? Because I feel like everybody's learned something about themselves because they've had a lot more time. So what's something you've learned?
So I really learned that I'm not as impatient as people think I am. I had my patience at display throughout this lockdown period. I also learned that it's important to have a pause in life. I've also learned, like so many other people, that you only need 3 things in life. Basically, you need to be close to your family, your parents, your husband, wife, or your children. Second thing that you need, most important, is essential goods, just some food and some set of clothes. And the third thing, which is very important, is Wi-Fi. The rest of it is all luxury. I learned that it is no point storing things. We clutter our belongings, we clutter our cupboards, and we clutter our almirahs, we clutter of the stuff and our mind with so many unnecessary things. And so I learned so many things. I learned that I can actually iron clothes very well. I learned that I can write. Means I used to write earlier also, but this time I write out of necessity. I felt that, you see, the point is, when I'm fearful of something, when I have to do difficult scenes, when I have to do scenes which have long lines of mine, I write them down. So similarly, this book helped me a lot. And compassion is the most important thing that I learned. The quality to be able to listen. We don't listen. We are so busy. We are pretending to be so busy. Sometimes we are just trying to sort of give ourselves this false notion of being important. That it's important to listen to people. It's important to communicate with people.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think this has definitely taught us to slow down because, as you said, everything was so fast-paced, and everyone's had a time to, slow down, reflect, and, also work on their hobbies and things they love and learn things about themselves.
What did you learn?
I already knew this about myself, but I learned that I was even more determined than I thought I was, because for my show, it was very challenging. In the beginning, our studio was closed, so I had to film it in my basement with the green screen myself. And I learned all the tools, and I was determined. I took content out there every week, and people would be like, "How did you do that yourself? How did you film a show? Book as also be the host." But I was determined, so I learned that.
I think when you're in a situation where you have to test your capabilities, that's the best time to do that.
Yeah.
You find new horizons only when you're pushed to the wall.
Exactly. So that's one thing I learned, that if I set my mind to it, I will do it no matter what. So that was a good thing that I learned. And I also took time to reflect and also spend time with family. So it's been actually a year of growth for me. Last year and this year has really been a year of growth. I want to talk about your new podcast. I know you have a new podcast coming out. So tell us about it.
Well, it's out. It's on iHeartRadio, iHeart podcast. You can find it there. It is on Apple. It's on Spotify. It's called Anupam Kher's. Cares. It's 14 episodes. Every episode is between 15 to 18 minutes. It's basically about the positivity that I wanted to spread or I want to spread in the world, the warmth that I want to spread, the togetherness, the diversity, so the compassion that I want to spread, and it is mostly delivered from my own life. When you come from a small town, you have amazing stories of compassion and amazing stories of goodness that you have witnessed all your growing years. So it's about that. And then the producers have taken such amazing stories of other people from various walks of life from the world and put them together. Juxtapose these two stories. So basically, and I'm glad to share that it's people are liking it. I hope your viewers and your listeners are also going to check. It's called Anupam Kher. I wanted to play around with my name, so it's worked out well. These are various stories, like my childhood stories, like a fairy tale stories. I told you in the beginning, my grandfather used to say, I asked him one day, I said, "Grandfather, we are very poor. Why are we happy?" And he said, "When you are very poor, the cheapest luxury available is happiness." So these are the things that I spoke about my first play, about my first life. Then the last chapter is about my father, who at the time, just 20 or 18 minutes before he passed away, he whispered two words in my ears, and they were "live life." So for a man who was going to die in another 20 minutes, for him to say the last two words as "live life," I think it's a great story. So based on these stories, there are so many other stories of people who are so inspirational, who are so motivational. Their stories, their small little anecdotes make this podcast a little interesting and inspirational also.
I was just going to say, it sounds very inspirational, and I for sure will be listening to it, and I'm sure our viewers will be, because, especially right now, inspiration is much needed. It's kind of dark times in the world, and
Yes.
I think a little boost of inspiration goes a long
Also,
way.
when you listen to the other people telling about their hardships, their difficulties, and yet staying positive, it has a very infectious effect on other people. I feel goodness is very infectious. I think honesty is very infectious. I think to be being cool is being inspirational. Being cool is being honest. Being cool is being punctual. I think we can give so much love to people. We need love. In this time, we discover that what cures us is compassion and love and hope. So the Anupam Cares is a podcast which gives you hope that you live in a better world. Otherwise, we are constantly told that we live in a dangerous world. We live in a world which believes in negativity. But we need to also, as individuals, take the responsibility of spreading the message of hope and goodness.
I think that's very true. And our show is about inspiration, showcasing people like you who have been very successful and inspirational. So I want to ask you, I always like to ask my viewers, what do you think the key to your success has been? Because you've obviously been extremely successful. So what do you think has kind of led you there?
Because I'm not scared of failure. You are successful as a person, not necessarily always as a professional, because somebody is doing better than you as a professional constantly. I can think that, oh my God, why am I not Brad Pitt? But how many people can be Anupam Kher? I think at a very young age, my father told me that failure is an event, never a person. And number two, I'm an eternal optimist. Number three, I'm hardworking and honest. There is no alternate to hard work and honesty. But never giving up is the best way to live. I never give up. It does appear that I have a very successful career, but I have seen ups and downs, thousands of ups and downs, like any other person in real life has. Our perspective of ups and downs changes from person to person, but I never give up, and I am not scared of failure, and I'm an eternal optimist. For me, the ultimate definition of optimism is nothing is all wrong. Even a clock that has stopped running is correct twice a day.
I think that's great advice. Thank you so much for being on the show today. It's been
Of
a
course.
pleasure. And you know, you're
Same here.
such an inspiration and so positive, and it's infectious. So thank you, and please come back soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. And give my love to your family.
Tag TV is available on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple and Android TVs, as well as on Apple and Android phones. Watch us live through YouTube and Facebook.